Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to podcast number 5. Today we're joined with our head coach, actually, Nick Becker. But this episode is brought to you by the Dopamino bands. Crosby's getting a nice little workout in. What do you got to say?
You can work out anywhere. I'm on this goal post right here. Stretch your limits.
Love to see it. Let's get into the pod.
I wanted to win a Division II national title, and nothing was really stopping me from that other than myself, right? I was in the dumps, I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? I hate college. I love wrestling. And I'm like, I remember telling my mom and my dad, I'm like, I'm going to fight. I can't imagine what he's going through. Things that happen like that kind of stick with you for a long time. After things like that happen, you kind of got to really think, is that true? Do you really get what you earned?
So let's say Trump comes back to campus. He goes, Nick. he goes, Nick. Here's a small.
I work at a public institution. I can't comment.
All right. Well, this is the. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Today we are joined with our head coach, actually, Nick Becker. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Now I know what you guys do all day long.
Yeah. Yep. This is what we do. Crosby wanted to ask the first question.
Whoa.
What?
You said you want to take it.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You take it.
All right. So give us the Nick Becker story. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe like one sentence that describes you.
One sentence only?
Sure.
Yeah. I would say passionate, hardworking.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's 2 words, not a sentence.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that we just want to dive in with this podcast is, so Nick's been our head coach for the past 2 years now. But first, we kind of want to talk about, I guess, your overall performance as an athlete. So in high school, you won 1 state title, but in college, you won 3 national titles and were undefeated in D2. So would you say it's easier to win a national title than a high school state title?
No, I just think I had success later on.
Yeah.
It was the long game, I think, for my family and my coaches, and they understood that. Like, it wasn't, me winning youth state titles. Obviously, always the goal was to win a high school state title. But, took me to my senior year in high school to win a state title. So that was my first state title ever between youth, Greco, freestyle.
Oh, wow.
Was my senior year folk style season. So.
Okay.
You never won a freestyle state title?
Not until my senior year.
Oh, you won. Okay, so you won both that year?
When did you
And
start?
Greco.
When did you start training freestyle and Greco? Because when I started, it was like maybe right before middle school, like that 8th grade year. But now kids are starting super young. When did you start?
I'm pretty sure I started in like 2nd or 3rd grade.
Really?
Yeah,
In freestyle Greco?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I didn't even know idea what freestyle Greco was at the time.
Yeah, no, I had, really good training partners and guys from around my area of Hartford, my hometown, that they were invested in that, So obviously I think, just followed suit. But like Alex Derringer and Jesse Thielke, both of those guys were, close to me, my hometown, and we were training partners growing up, ever since, 2nd, 3rd grade, all the way up really till high school.
Yeah.
You trained with Derringer?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I did not know that.
I've known him for a really long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still keep in contact with him?
Oh, I see him once in a while, like at, tournaments. He was actually at the Findlay Open.
He was?
Maybe not this year,
No.
but the year before.
Yeah, year before he was
Yeah.
like coaching
Oh.
with
Michigan, some
Michigan.
guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, yeah, I see him maybe once, twice a year. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But
Did you ever train with him in college?
I wrestled with him one time, like when he was at Oklahoma State and I was at Central Michigan.
How did that look like?
Yeah, we just sparred around. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
he was a lot better than me for sure, especially at that time.
So I know when we went to a camp this summer, and I asked a question like, why is it or how is it that you could be undefeated and be a 3-time undefeated national champion? And you said that it was all consistency. Can you just elaborate on your journey with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, you can't just start wrestling at our level and be like, oh, I'm going to be a national champ, right? So I think it was obviously years in the making. But when it really came down to it, when, that was my goal, like I wanted to win a Division II national title, and, nothing was really stopping me from that other than myself, right? So it was just consistency with getting in the practice room, lifting, obviously, diet, but, even consistency in, mental training and self-belief. I mean, self-belief, I think, is the greatest tool you can possess if you go out on the mat or any sort of competition. With doubt or not knowing, thinking, hey, I might lose, I'm going to lose, you're probably going to lose. But no, yeah, I liked studying that aspect of it, the mental part.
How much do you think it comes down to, like, whether it be your coaches, or was there another motivating factor outside yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always got to find your why, right? Why you do it. I had a lot of different reasons. One, in college, like, I obviously went to Central Michigan for 2 years, and that was a failure in my eyes, right? Maybe not for others, but I kind of just wanted to write my story a little different after I left there. So that was part of it, right? I wanted to, prove to everyone that I could compete at a high level. Other than that, obviously, when you got some older brothers that won national titles, you kind of want to keep up with them, right? And that was part of it. Family. Having your family be proud of you, your friends, your hometown. Like, I love my hometown of Hartford. Some great people there. So, my why was a lot of different things, but I realized, like, if I wanted to achieve winning a national title, I had to do it for myself, though, at the end of the day, too. Good question. I remember that camp.
Yeah.
What were some, like, pre-match things you did, like, mentally? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'll be, like, just me, like, I'll be, like, confident, and then it's, like, right when I go out there, it's, like, not confident.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of like in the practice room, like, pre-match before me and you wrestle, like, I'm kicking Crosby's ass today.
Well, now Crosby has a tattoo, so he has more confidence.
A lot tougher.
A lot tougher.
A lot tougher.
But what else could he do?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. For me, I always like to stay relaxed. So I would warm up maybe 20, 25 minutes before a match. And then, 5-10 minutes before, maybe when I'm, like, on deck, then I'd bring my heart rate way down and relax. But other than that, it was just positive thoughts going through my head, like, focusing on, if I had wrestled the guy before, like, getting to my stuff that maybe worked in the past. Obviously, the time of the year and competition's a little different in your mental headspace. Like the national tournament, you got so many emotions running through your head, and it can get overwhelming at times. But it's just staying poised, trusting in everything. And
I mean, for you being, like, undefeated for 3 years, like, did you even, like, was that extra pressure, or did you not even think about it?
I think my coaches did a really good job of not, putting that in the limelight, right? That was never really talked about, was like, oh, you won, you're at match 63, let's get 64. It was never like that, which was probably good, unnecessary pressure. But, I mean, once you start winning, that streak is definitely in the back of your head, but focus on the 7 minutes that you got out of the mat, or however long it takes, and that's kind of what my motto was.
Do you like being an athlete and competing, or do you like coaching now that you have both sides of the story?
Two completely different things. Yeah. Like, obviously, as a competitor, you miss that, right? You miss competing. There's nothing that replaces you stepping out on a wrestling mat or a ring, right? And it's just you and another guy. I can't really speak for any other sports. That team sports are a little different, I think. And just having that, hey, after 7 minutes, you're either coming victorious and you're going to get everything you got, or you're not, and it's on you at the end of the day. No one else. But I would say coaching is a lot more rewarding. For me, I think it's, when I see you guys or anyone on the team, like, jump levels or get that win that, you've been fighting for a while, like, that's what makes my job rewarding. As a competitor, like, do I miss it? But am I completely satisfied with my career? Absolutely. Like, I have no regrets. I gave the sport everything I had. So, but I would say I definitely get more nervous coaching than I did competing.
What? I wouldn't guess that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm thinking about 10 guys winning instead of just myself.
Okay,
I mean,
that's true. One thing before we get into, like, the logistics of, like, our duels and everything, I did want to kind of touch on this story. So after our freshman season, our coach Corey ended up leaving that year, Now we had kind of that whole summer. I don't know really the timeline, but we had, coaches come in and talk to us of saying like, this could be your coach. Tell us what you think about him. And each one.
You were like, oh, those guys are losers.
No. But what I'm going to say is that we knew that, you were the last person to win a national championship for the program. And all these coaches were to walk in the door with you, there's a picture on the door of you winning that national title. They walk in, you're the most recent, national champion, 3-time national champ. Like, did you feel like it was destiny? Like, there was no way they couldn't pick you?
No, absolutely not.
And your brother was our assistant coach at the time. Too. He still is. So,
yeah.
I mean, like, did you almost feel like it was in the cards?
Yeah, I thought obviously any college coaching position, really, if it's a high level, like Division II, Division I, even a lot of D3 programs, like they get a huge applicant pool, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew there was a huge applicant pool, and I knew they were only bringing 3 people on campus because that's what the athletic director had said. So I knew when I was down to that final 3, like, I did the Skype interview for 30 minutes and basically dressed from the chin down, just suit on while I was working my other job. And, then they invited me on campus, and then it was like, all right, I really got to lock in. And, I prepared for the interview. Like, that was my first job interview ever. So, like.
What?
Everything else was just, like, kind of word of mouth, right? And, then where are we at here? What was the question?
It was just like, did he feel like it was in, like, your destiny to be the Parkside coach?
Oh, yeah. Looking back, it's a pretty cool story if you think about it. I ain't gonna lie. Like, obviously being able to compete here where my brothers went. My cousin Kelly actually was the first Becker to wrestle here at Parkside. I don't know if you guys knew that. But,
no.
In the early 90s. So he came here, and then obviously Brad 10, 12, 15 years later, whatever it is. But, it was on paper it looks like destiny, right? But I was nervous as crap coming into the interview. It was 9 hours, and then, like, I didn't hear for anything for a couple days, and then the athletic director called me, Andrew, and he's just like, I got a couple more questions for you. And I was in sales at the time, so I was, driving somewhere. I was on the road, I remember. And I'm like, I got time right now, and he's asking me these really difficult questions on the spot. I'm like, I hung up the phone. I'm like, it was like 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't know if I got this job. Why is he calling me back? And then the next day, he FaceTimed me. And I'm like, well, if he's FaceTiming me, I probably got it. So then I picked it up, and he's like, just wondering if you want to be the next coach at Parkside Wrestling. I'm like, yeah, absolutely awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Where do you think you'd be if, like, Corey never left?
Good question. I would probably still have my job that I had. I really enjoyed that.
What was that?
I was selling construction equipment. So, like,
oh, that's right.
Milwaukee tools, anything for plumbers, electricians, general contractors, house builders.
That's crazy.
Do you plan on staying here as long as you can? Like, almost not fill Jim Cook's shoes, but follow in that legacy in, like, your whole career?
Yeah, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
No, this will be the only place I coach. I'm too fond of Wisconsin, and I know I'm a homer. But I love the area I live. I moved to, obviously, out of college, moved 6 hours away, and I realized pretty quick that wasn't for me. Close with my family, all the nieces and nephews, so I think it'd be hard to leave them.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't get much better. Like, obviously, yes, Division I, like, that's a higher level of coaching, absolutely. But for me to be able to coach at this program that has so much history, tradition, we're competitive, and it's my alma mater, and it's a nice area, like, why would I want to leave?
Yeah.
And, maybe there's offers that come in down the road that are bigger, more money, but that's not me.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk about, our first season, going into our first duel, we face UW Whitewater.
Yeah.
And so this is a really
still a sore subject.
Still a sore subject, but we have to talk about it because this starts the legacy. So if you guys do not know, we end up losing to Whitewater, which is a D3 school. We battle for the Saki Trophy. Kind of tell us your input, like, throughout maybe the beginning of the duel and during it and the end, and now we have known as the park or the whitewater practice that shaped
Yeah,
some
I
of us.
listened to Fishback's episode when you're talking about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you love backbridge push-ups so much, so we'll keep doing those.
Oh, I love it. No, he doesn't like
Oh,
them.
it's Cosby?
Yeah,
probably,
I don't
yeah.
like those very
Oh,
much.
it does get you strong shoulders.
It does, but like it hurts.
Ray loves them.
You know where I got?
Yeah.
You know where I got those from?
Where?
Coach Tom Braley at Central Michigan. He would make
Really?
us. Yeah. He would make us do them way longer than I make you guys do them.
Really?
Yeah.
How long do we go? 'Cause you never really say a time. You just say up.
It was
Usually I go until someone falls.
Oh.
And then I start over.
Start when the heavyweights get up.
No, the heavyweights are all right.
except if they're doing monkey rolls.
Monkey Roll's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
All right, wait.
No,
Yeah,
T-
we're getting
T-
way off track.
T-
here.
Yeah, we're way off
Monkey
track.
rolls.
Let's go back.
Okay,
Go back to the whitewater duel.
Yeah, I mean, going in before, I was pretty stoked up. I was like, this is sweet. Finally, we were just training that summer. I got hired in May, so it's not like there wasn't competition for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I was like jacked, and I knew that you guys we were good. I'm like, looking on paper, I'm like, we're gonna do pretty good.
Well, we're coming off a season, I don't think, where we won a duel. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I still have confidence
Yeah.
in you guys. That's the thing.
Thank you, Nick.
Oops. No, yeah, you might not have won a duel that year, but I just saw you guys in the room, and obviously then as the duel goes on, we're kind of putting it on them a little bit,
Yeah.
and then what is it? Reese obviously loses to Shinholster, who's really tough.
Yeah.
It was a great match, and he was right there. So the momentum swung that way a little bit. And even before that, Joe was wrestling 174, right?
Yes.
And he had a tight one, which I thought he was going to blow him
I
out of the
thought he was
water.
gonna destroy that guy too.
We definitely could have got more majors early on.
Well, and Arroyo, didn't he miss a tech or something?
No, I think he got the tech.
Oh really?
Maybe not.
Maybe I think he majored him.
I think he missed the tech by a point or two.
You got pinned, right?
Yeah, right.
No, and then obviously 97, that was oh crap, we're giving up 6 there. And then obviously comes down to heavyweight, and a pretty cool, loud environment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it did come down to bonus points. I remember telling everyone that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was stressing bonus points from May to
Yeah.
basically November. Bonus points are important because I knew our team that year. I knew every one of those duels. And even this year against some of our best guys, our teams, last year, or the first year was always we need 5 wins,
Mm-hmm.
5 wins and bonus points. This year is kind of similar, but against St. Cloud, I'm we definitely need 6 wins.
Yeah.
And we got 6. So, but yeah, then I guess after that whitewater duel, I was I didn't sleep much that night, maybe an hour. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Do I suck at coaching? So, all these thoughts are rolling through your head, which is good. I think looking back now, I'm glad I took that loss at dual meet, my first one ever in the college, coaching career. Cause
You can only go up.
that is true. And everyone's oh, undefeated, 89-0. I hate when people mention that, it's well, I was not really undefeated in my college career. I won my last 89. But going to coaching, then it's okay, well, I pretty much hit bottom already. So I know what it feels like to lose, and that's something that I didn't feel for a really long time, right? A couple of years. Obviously, I was devastated. Senior nationals, that would have been 2020 at 74 kgs. That was tough losing there. And then obviously I didn't compete in any sort of anything for 2.5 years. But I mean, you got to put it value in the past though. So it wasn't much longer where I was all right, what's next?
Yeah. Well, because at that practice, if I'm not mistaken, which I didn't know this until later, but why are you shaking your head?
Because I know what you're gonna say, and I think you're wrong
I don't-
about it. Did you record the whitewater crowd noise?
No.
Dude, who came up with this?
That was you were playing
There's a
Gladiator.
wide- yeah, there's a-
I went to YouTube and just typed in
Yeah,
crowd noise.
Yes,
I thought there's
that's what I said.
Yes.
Because
Somebody
who's-
made it up that you played the
the whitewater crowd,
crowd.
on repeat. There's a wives' tale going around.
Yeah.
No. Did you make that up?
No, I swear,
Somebody
I
did.
didn't, but
Somebody
someone
made it
did.
up.
No, that was just crowd noise on YouTube.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I need to do that again.
Yeah. No,
Did you like plan that practice at all, or did you just go in and?
Yeah, well, I had this question. What was like your end goal, like coming into the practice and ending? What did you want to have us feel, or what did you want to put us through in order for maybe that to never happen again, or whatever your goal is for that?
Well, I thought about it for a while, and I think it just came down to we need to be mentally tougher in those tight situations when we're in enemy territory and we got to perform when it's tight. You know, when it's overtime or. And I didn't do a good job in the beginning of simulating that in the wrestling room. Like, I don't know if you noticed the difference between last year and this year. We do more best of fives and best of threes
Yeah.
because I think that is a great way for you guys to compete with each other when you're exhausted already. And it's kind of like, who's going to be the guy to break up here because it's not really physical, especially in the practice room.
That makes sense.
But yeah, if I blame anyone for the loss, like it's me, but because you guys weren't ready to go.
Well, I mean, losing to Whitewater is the first duel, and then this year we walk into enemy territory against St. Cloud, who hasn't lost at home in 13 years, and we end up winning that duel. Walk us through that, because I know that was kind of the big, I guess, step in, like, that we know that we're good. Like, we know that we can compete at the top level, and I think a lot of us believe that after that win, just signifying that.
Yeah, I was pretty confident going in. I actually had told a couple people before that were close to me. I said, I think we're going to beat them. Like Matt Geel, I told him that. And I'm like, we need 6 wins. I wrote it on paper a couple times, different scenarios, like things that needed to happen. Obviously, momentum is a big thing in dual meets. You get rolling in a dual meet, right? There's a couple big moments, though. I mean, even off the get-go, Corrigan getting bonus points. That 1 point there was huge. And then Swanson only, giving up a tech fall, even though we got tech fall. That was big. Same.
Crosby.
Sorry.
No, I hate that so much when people say like that's what my parents tried saying. You saved a point, and that's what your dad texted me too. You saved a point, but it's like, dude, I got tech fall.
You saved the point though.
Yeah, but I could have saved more than one.
Yeah, but we just needed that one.
I guess, yeah.
Well, then obviously, like, your match was big, and that's what a lot of the difference I see in our team is when we get in those tight situations in matches. A lot this year we were winning those battles. And then obviously Reynolds at the end was clutch, Mr. Clutch Reynolds. So
he didn't even know. He didn't even know that we were gonna that match won it.
Oh yeah.
So we went 11-0 in duels this year, and just looking at like team placement in D2, they run it based on to get the national trophy, you need to get the most points at the national tournament. Do you think that it should be kind of duels, like just how we weren't invited to the All-Star Duel Classic or whatever it's called, and do you think national duels? Personally, for me, I think it would be cool to have that national duels, but be a team nationals, almost like how they do Wisconsin Team State, and that would be the winner. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed feelings on that. I think the team aspect of wrestling is really unique, and dual meet draws more excitement. And not saying that an individual national tournament doesn't, right? But there's just a storyline as a dual meet goes on, right? The ebbs and flows. One team might be winning, and then get bonus points, pin. Ooh, exciting, right? Obviously, the bigger thing is the NCAA. And how would that look with a national championship bracket, right?
Yeah.
16 teams make it do 32. Do you have an 8-man bracket, a 4-man pool like NCAA football? Like I see that as value, right? Like if there would be some way where you could have the top 8 teams, however you want to figure that out at the end of the year, and maybe you do that the week after an individual national tournament. Yeah. That way you can crown your individual national champs and then a team national championship. Yeah. And especially, like, obviously in Division II, we don't have much publicity when it comes to, like, mainstream media and getting on ESPN and those things. But, like, I'm thinking bigger picture Division I level. Like, the individual national tournament first, right? That's your storyline the week before, and then you know, they like the next week's the team tournament, and the viewers already know going in, you know, some of these guys, and they you know, they're watching and they're like, oh, I like Penn State or I like Iowa or, you know, Cornell. So then they have something to follow the week after, but we'll see. I mean, I don't see it changing from an individual format anytime soon, though.
Yeah. No, that's a big topic though, is viewership in wrestling. You know, of course, a lot with like the different divisions and how much media attention they get and whatnot. But did you see that this year's Division I National Championships was like the lowest in like a decade?
Yeah.
Even though we had 2 guys going for 4 national titles. Why do you think that is, and what do you think we could do to improve that? Not even just in D1, but increase that viewership in D2.
Yeah, I think the storylines, right, have a big thing to do with it. And just wrestling as a whole, I mean, you got to have, I hate to say it, but you kind of have to have some characters in the sport, right? Like, you look at mainstream football, basketball, like, you know, those sports are telling other people's stories.
Yeah.
And wrestling, I don't know if we do the best job of that.
Yeah.
And our sport's really hard to follow. At least I think, right? There's a lot of nuances in the sport of wrestling, which makes the average TV flipper sitting on their couch, like they scroll by it and they're like, well, the guy just picked the guy up in the air, put him down. He didn't score any points for it. So you got to know the rules, and I think maybe that's how you navigate it is, you know, getting more education and materials about the rules and how it's scored.
Yeah.
But
how do you feel about the new rules or proposed rules?
3-point takedown.
I mean, I see both sides of the argument. For our team, I like the 3-point takedown just because I think we stress scoring and getting on our offense. But I do see the disadvantages of it. One being, right, like U.S. is the only country that does folk style. So if you want to grow the viewership outside of the U.S. for folk style wrestling and you're on a different point system than, say, freestyle, I mean, I think freestyle and folk style should stay as close to the rule set as possible. I would love to see a push-out rule in folk style.
Yeah.
I think that would be – it makes
perfect sense.
Rules easier, too. Like, stalling is so judgmental. And if you're an average viewer watching, like, you're like, well – you pushed him out of bounds and he gets called for stalling, you know, like things like that where a push-out rule is pretty cut and dry. Like, it's like sumo. Everyone knows sumo. You push the guy out of bounds, you win.
Yeah.
In wrestling, you push him out of bounds, you get a point.
Yeah.
Did you ever, like, because I know you're talking about, like, storylines and stuff, and people like when maybe people get excited after they win and kind of, like, not necessarily showboat, but, you know, show some, like, personality. Were you ever a guy that, like, will get so excited? But, like, we've seen, like, some of your videos, you know, when you won nationals, it was like you've done it, you know, clearly you've done it before, but, like, you've done it before and just, like, cool, calm, collected. What do you think about people maybe, I don't know, celebrating in a way that...
No, I love it. I mean, it's whatever your personality is, right?
Sure.
Like, I wasn't like that. And I guess maybe I didn't like the limelight of it, right? Like, I used to get really nervous in interviews, like when I was in college wrestling, and I hated doing them, but they always wanted me to do interviews. So, obviously, I've gotten a little bit better at them.
Yeah.
But more comfortable, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that just wasn't me, and maybe that just was a little bit like, I think, the Hartford Wrestling Club where I started. I think that was something that was really stressed a lot, though, too. Like, hey, you get up, you shake the guy's hand, you walk off the mat, you don't pout if you lose, you don't throw a hissy fit, you don't yell at the ref. You win and lose with class, basically. And I think maybe that's a little bit how I was brought up.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I wasn't, I don't know, like, I didn't really fit the part of a big, like, celebrator. Like,
Sure.
if I flexed, it was like, wow, look at this scrawny dude flexing.
Well, I mean, looking back, I think a lot is like how you get brought up. Like, I wasn't taught to like celebrating. Like, you probably shouldn't do that, just because, you know, what if, you know, ref does something, throws you out for over celebrating, or I don't know, whatever it may be. That, I guess, that was always in my mind growing up as well.
We also never had people that won stuff.
We had some big youth tournaments, bro. Wildcat youth tournament.
I used to go there.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you win it?
I don't remember.
You probably ran into a West Bend stud.
Dude, I got
I
pinned.
used to be loose to some West Bend kids, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesse Thilke trained at West Bend a little bit.
Yeah, at the Wildcats. And Gats. I know you said you trained with Gats a little bit, right?
John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
John
really?
used to come here, and he used to wrestle with us in the summer when he was at Platteville.
I did not know that.
Yep. I've known John for a while. John went to Central Michigan, too.
Wait, what?
I did not know that.
I thought he went straight to Platteville.
No, I'm pretty sure I was John's host on his recruiting visit, too.
Oh, wow.
That's actually cool.
No, John's a good dude.
Yeah. Well, moving into your senior nationals. All right. I think it was senior nationals. Mark Hall,
That was World Team Trials.
World Team Trials.
You need to get up to date
Was that
with
the
wrestling tournaments.
semifinals?
Yeah. Yep, semis.
What happened?
What do you mean I lost?
Come
No, I mean, I quit wrestling, right? So I stress to you guys a lot, like, don't stop wrestling till whistle blows. But, I took I think I went up 4-0. Then I might have gave up a push-out, gave up a takedown. It was like 4-3 with, I don't know, 15 seconds left. And then using on my leg. And I'm pretty good in that lightning dump position. But he got me on that. Kind of hooked my leg. It was slick.
Do you think you could still compete at that level if you were to go back?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna say no. It's just my mindset. But I do feel it a lot more. Like, I can't train like I used to. Like, my body just doesn't recover as fast now.
The Mountain Dew's catching up?
No. That's my fuel.
No.
No, I only have like 2 to 3 a day. Some days none.
Really?
I usually have a coffee in the morning and maybe diet do at lunch, diet do at dinner.
We talked about the fishback pod with Craig, but I think he's a different animal.
Yeah.
for that.
Is that true that he had Mountain Dew in his bottle in the national finals?
I'm sure it was, yeah. He's got a problem.
Well, yeah.
I think he's getting gas now. It's
He
catching up to
He
him.
doesn't really drink water.
Really?
No, he just drinks Diet Mountain Dew. I think that's what hydrates him.
He looked like he was gassing out the other day in practice.
Oh, he said he was exhausted.
Yeah. Well, because I asked him to go next go. He goes, "No, I'm gonna sit out this one." And then he comes around and goes, "Okay, I caught a win. Let's go." But
Yeah, he said you squeezed them on a
yeah.
gap. Said he was about to puke.
How long do you think you're still gonna wrestle with us until you maybe don't strap him up and go head to head with us in live?
I got a lot more years, yeah.
Yeah.
As you get older, you get smarter.
Uh-huh.
I think you see things coming a lot sooner.
Mm.
Yeah, in top, like folk style. Like, if I get on top, I can recover a lot
Sure.
faster.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Would you want folk style to just change to freestyle? Just get rid of the whole rule set completely?
No, because I like mat wrestling. I think it's unique.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think I would like freestyle. Even though I suck at parterre. But
Then maybe you get good at it because we'll train it
oh,
more.
yeah, that's true.
What do you think about right now? Like, so we're training for U23s, and when we were talking with Hamidi, he says he really doesn't train freestyle. They just train like for him because I think everyone has a different training set. That he only does like folk style, just like year round. What do you think about like us only training folk style because that is the style we train, and maybe it's good to, of course, maybe mix both, still do some mat wrestling during freestyle season. But what's your take on that?
Yeah, you guys probably don't realize it, but a lot of the technique we do in freestyle season is folk style correlated.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's why we didn't spend much time on parterre.
Yeah.
Like, how good are we going to get in parterre in a month, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't do it for 11 months and then go back to
Yeah.
it, So, development-wise, like, parterre is great. You need to know how to defend a gut, but all the little nuances, do we need to spend, hours in there? It takes a long time to get really good in
Sure.
parterre. And obviously, if you're training freestyle year-round, like, you focus on those things. But,
Mm-hmm.
Our main goal is win Division II team national titles and individual national titles. So we got to focus on folk style. But I do think a lot of freestyle little tricks, they definitely translate to folk style.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the danger rule came out in when I was in college, I think it was my last year, when the first year of the danger rule.
Okay.
Like, I was like, this is awesome. Because there's a lot of freestyle things that I did that I thought about where I like could hold guys and get danger counts, like lightning, like the lightning dump, like guys would shoot low singles and then I just lock my feet together.
Sure.
And then I'd hold them there and get danger counts. So like I figured out ways when that danger rule came out to score, and I don't know, that year was really fun, just part of it because our team was really good, but that danger rule, I always just remember that. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we should do more Winn-Dixies.
Yeah, we should.
I love those things.
We need to get good
You've
at that.
never hit a win.
I know. I have been on it twice in freestyle now.
Well,
You got long legs.
Yeah.
Skinny
I'm going
legs.
for it. I'm going for it now.
Shu does a Winn-Dixie once in a while.
Shu got Winn-Dixie today by Caden Hooker.
That's rough.
No.
I do want to touch base on the situation because I think it's important to know, and it is something that happened. I think it's real. At the national tournament, I mean, it's about Shane, clearly. Like, everyone knew, like, he was almost, like, in the cards for him, too. Like, it was his destiny to win it. You know, getting second the year before, this year, just, you know, how you're saying, like, he does everything right, and then, you know, shit hits the fan, and that's kind of over. What was, I guess, your take on that, and what did you kind of say to him what can you do, really, in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be there for support, right? Like, that still hurts for me, right? And I can't imagine what he's going through. Still, right? Like, that things that happen like that kind of stick with you for a long time. And, you know, but at the end of the day, like, the type of guy Shane is, his character, you know, the way he treats people, his future he's going to have in whatever he does, you know, that's more important than a national title. Obviously, you know, everyone hoped that he would win a national title, you know, and I'm still a big believer in, you know, you get what you earn, and, you know, after things like that happen, you kind of got to really think, you know, is that true? Do you really get what you earned? Because obviously, like, he dedicated his life, or I wouldn't say his life, but I can only speak for what I know of him, and obviously it was 1 year when I was a senior and he was a true freshman, and you know, when you're a wrestler, you're a teammate, like, you support your teammates, but I guess you really don't focus on how they're training you focus on how they're training, but you don't really see the development as much when you're as a coach. And like, from the outside looking in, like, he kept getting better and better and better. Like, I'd wrestle with him, like, dang, dude.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I think with Shane, you know, he's forever going to be like one of the greatest Parkside wrestlers ever, I believe. I mean, he went 63-3 in 2 years.
Sure.
You know, he beat the guy who won the Nationals twice this year. So it's like, at the end of the day, he doesn't have the trophy in his trophy case, but you know, he's a champion in life in my book. So I think that's more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, it was just a really big topic change from that.
Feel like you're going to a funeral or what?
No.
Well, no, I really wanted to hear
No,
that
that's
situation
important,
because I mean, just wanted to hear the take.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not done yet. You know, I think he's going to compete again, I think.
Just in freestyle.
Yeah.
Is he doing the? Can he do the trials or what's like?
No. Like, he just, I think, needs a break from the sport.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
6 years, man, of college wrestling. Like, when I was done with my 6th year, I was like, I need a break. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't wrestle that year. I took 9 months off.
No, not a single practice.
Oh no, I'm saying with competition.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I still practiced, because I was a GA here that year. But no, sometimes you need a break from competition. Just
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
This is another, I guess, changing topic, but what do you look for in recruits coming here?
Just grit, really. You gotta be tough. I mean, there's so many teammates that I've been around and guys who I've seen come in programs and leave. Like, they might be super great technically coming out of high school, but if you can't take a butt kicking, you know, it's going to be hard for you to develop. Like, not many guys come into a college room straight out of high school and are, like,
Mm-hmm.
a world beaters, right?
Sure.
Work ethic, I think, is important.
Mm-hmm.
Character, how they treat others.
Yeah.
But I think we do a good job here of developing guys, and a lot of that just the guys in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Iron sharpens iron. You keep getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, that's what I see. I see all the freshmen just improving. I mean,
Like Shu, he's been kicking Crosby's ass lately.
Whoa,
I know.
whoa.
what do you think about Shu?
Joking.
What do
I don't know.
What do you think about Shu gaining 20 pounds and being a 97?
He's trying to go 74 or
79.
79 kgs. He's gonna be the smallest 79 kg in the country.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shu.
Shu, I do want to talk about that situation if you want to come on the pod. Yeah.
He asked me what weight I'm going, and he just said, yeah, I'll do that one too.
Just wherever you
He
are.
did say that, yeah, in the locker room the other day. But when you were in college, you wrestled a lot with Ben Askren, right?
Yep.
At what point he was still competing, right, in MMA?
Yep.
At what point in his career was he at when you were practicing with him? Or do you know?
Yeah. Well, me and Ben trained kind of going back. I don't know if you guys know this, but I wasn't ever at my last 2 years here at Parkside. I was only on the team second semester.
Your last 2 years?
Yeah.
What'd you do first semester?
I had to train on my own.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Because in Division One, they had a rule. It's called the running clock. So right when you start, you get 5 years to compete in 4 national championships. In Division Two, it's different. They do a 10-semester rule. So when I transferred, I lost a year of eligibility. So in order to get that year back, I could only be on a team for 10 semesters.
Wow.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So I didn't wrestle. They still do it in Division Two a lot. I think I'm the one who started that a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you got all your credits and only did second semester?
I had to be part-time, so my junior year, I only had taken 6 credits in the fall. And then, I would just train by myself a lot of times, or I'd go by Ben. I'd grab another guy from the room. And then my first time I could always come back was the Midwest Classic.
Oh.
So I'd go to the Midwest Classic without training one practice with the team, which is weird.
Who was the guy ahead of you for that first semester? Or not ahead of you, but in your spot?
Job.
Really?
Job.
He was at 74? What is that? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like Ben's where you got the
Oh, that
5-minute goes thing from, right?
Oh yeah, we'd always do 5-5s.
I remember you saying that's why we do it here. Is there any
Oh.
other like things that you did with him that was like different from what you'd usually do in a practice?
No, he's just a really unique feel. Like his wrestling IQ is probably one of the smartest wrestling IQ people I've ever been around, and Max too. But yeah, he was just. You couldn't get in too many positions with him where he wasn't very, very, very sound in. And then obviously you wrestle him with enough, you start figuring those things out. But I want to say he was like in 1FC at that time.
Okay. Do you think he's one of the biggest, like, did he help make you jump levels?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you can't single one coach out in my career, right? Like Craig, obviously I wrestled with him probably more than anyone. So he was obviously helped me jump levels. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, like, even from like young on, not young on, but I'd say like junior year in high school, freshman year of college, like you just keep making improvements and figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say Ben is the single best wrestler you've ever wrestled with?
Like what do you mean wrestled with? Like live or?
Yeah, live, yeah.
Yeah, probably one of them. I rolled with Jaden Cox one time. He was pretty good.
When
He's
did you do
okay.
that?
I was at like an AWA camp, I think, when I was in college.
Holy crap.
Dude, Jaden Cox was
John Reeder is an animal.
Really?
You want to feel a guy, you want to have a sore neck, go wrestle with John Reeder.
Well, Gomez was saying that if there's a competition between every Division I coach, John Reeder would just destroy everybody.
Oh, he's the real deal, yeah.
everyone right now. That's crazy.
Like, wrestling Ben and wrestling Reeder are two completely different things.
Mm.
Because Reeder is like a brawler, not really brawler, he's probably the best hand fighter I've ever touched.
Really?
Yeah. My hand fighting went.
Was it the
just
strength
wrestling.
or was it the technique?
A little bit of both. Yeah. I mean, but muscular endurance, you talk about muscular endurance, he's got that. Like, and that's something I think takes years and years and years.
Yeah.
No, I would say those two guys, Reeder and Ben, like, they're legit. They should try wrestling again.
Yeah.
I got a hypothetical situation for you. Let's just say, well, because Trump was at NCAA's. Let's say Trump comes back to campus. He goes, Nick. he goes, Nick. Here's a small.
I work at a public institution. I can't comment.
All right. Well, this is this
answer.
isn't a political question. The question is, Trump comes to you and he says, Nick, I'm gonna give you a small loan of $1 million. Do whatever you want with the parks, like to fund the Parkside wrestling. What would you do with that $1 million?
$1 million or $500,000?
Whole million.
I'd probably take 500,000 of it and start an endowment. So that way that money collects interest, and then we can just use the money we make on interest for whatever, we want from a year-to-year basis. And another 500K would definitely, we would have a bigger wrestling room with full weight room and treadmills.
How many mats?
A lounge. I don't really think we need 4 mats. I think that's a little ridiculous, but double the size of ours I think would be legit. And then having, like a lounge area where the locker room is and you guys can hang out, play video games, have a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Invest half,
Yeah.
spend half.
That makes sense.
What about getting us maybe a 6th shower head?
Maybe with an extra $100.
Do you remember what I wrote on the board the other day?
Oh, no.
Something about problem solving.
Well,
Go grab a dang wrench in the issue room.
Wait,
and frickin'
isn't
put it back on.
isn't our bathroom stall door still broken? Wait, how long has that been broken for?
It was
Hooker-
broken when
Yeah,
I
I
got
thought
here.
Hooker broke that.
Okay, I thought it was up to him to fix it, but
It was.
How did he break it? Was he hanging on it?
hanging
He
on.
had to get in the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, I guess he did. Oh man.
Okay, this is way back, but I forgot to say it when we were talking about you taking Corey's job. And when I went on my
It's
visit,
not like it's saying like I took his
Yeah.
job. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Corey, get the hell out of here.
But-
I had no idea it was happening. He texted me that morning. He's like, hey, I want to just let you know before it hits the news, but I'm leaving Parkside.
oh really? Yeah. Well, on my my visit there, I remember we were in the wrestling room, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay here as long as I can, and if I'm gonna stay here as long as I can see that we're gonna win a national team title." And then before I even get to the school, he quits. And I was like, "Well, shit, dude."
That's so tough.
But obviously, we're on track
Yeah.
now. But
Yeah, and I think, he was in a position where his family was from Green Bay, right? And he had a child, and I think when you have a child, I've never had one yet, but I just seeing my brothers and sisters, right, with kids, when you have a kid, that changes your perspective on a lot of things. And I think that was one thing Corey thought about, is being, one, closer home to his family, being by his mom and dad and his wife's mom and dad. And his wife got a job at UW Green Bay. So I think he told me it was the hardest decision of his life, which I truly believe it was. It's tough when you're passionate about something, and I know Corey was, you're really passionate about a sport, right? And you got to make a decision like that. It wasn't easy, I can imagine.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he wasn't thinking about what he told me when he was going into his
I'm sure
decision-making
that changes
process.
everything.
No, you probably committed on the spot.
Me?
Yeah.
I think I committed a week later.
Crosby didn't know if he was going to wrestle in college.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was going to go to college.
I dragged him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, how fast do you think you would put your kid in wrestling?
I'll probably wait a little bit.
Like till they're middle school?
No, not that late. I think competition maybe 3rd, 4th grade, couple tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2nd grade even. But it also depends if they enjoy it, right? Like I was a little crybaby when I was a youth kid. Like if I lost,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want that for my kid. Like,
Yeah.
Like I would rather have them like come off the mat laughing, and that's a hard thing,
Yeah.
hard thing to do. I mean, wrestling's a unique sport in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, I bet this didn't happen to you, but I think a lot of the reason why the kids are crying is because their parents are screaming at them. What do you think about like parents getting so overinvested in their kids doing so well at a young age? Like as soon as they come off the mat, like the dad's yelling like, why didn't you blah 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 blah. Like I just think it's like childish from a parent perspective.
I agree, and my parents were really good about that, right? If anyone put like, and I needed it, like when I hit middle school, 7th, 8th grade, like I think that's when, you're 13, 14 years old and you can start, taking that constructive criticism, right? So like it was my brothers to give me constructive criticism for the most part. My parents laid off a lot, which was important, right? But yeah, I see it in youth now. I was just at McGuanago High School like 2 weeks ago, and I walk in, and this dad is looking at his, I don't know, kid probably like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade maybe. You wrestle terrible. You can't wrestle like that. And I'm just like, right as I walk in, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I want to say something to this dad right away when I walk in? But I just,
do any dads come up to you and like say like, keep an eye out for my son? They're gonna be good. Like,
Brent actually told me that.
who?
Brent, your dad.
My dad?
How about you?
What? What do you mean? What?
I'm joking.
I was gonna say.
Your dad is the complete opposite of he did it the
Yeah.
right way. No, yeah, not really. Sometimes I hear it. I think I see it more of a lot of your YouTube following actually.
Really? Oh, like they email you?
Yeah, they're like in 7th, 8th grade. Like, keep an eye out for me. It doesn't happen often, maybe
Yeah.
like 5, 6 times since
Yeah.
I've been hired, but I just laugh. I send them an email back like, hey, keep up the good work,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
good.
like, you're in 7th grade. I'm not going to follow you in 7th,
Yeah.
like follow your career.
What do you think about like on the Instagram page sometimes, or you see people saying like, I want to go to Parkside. It's my dream school.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think Parkside's a great place, right? It's got to be a fit for you as an individual. So, I mean,
That's fair.
I loved it here. I still love it here.
Sure. Well, there's a reason we're here.
Yes. Yeah, it's
I
fun.
like that. I guess personal question: how often do you watch my videos, like tournament videos or dual videos? Do you watch them
I
at all?
watch them quite a bit. Yeah, I do. The podcast has been harder to keep up with, but
Mhm.
I did listen to the Gable one and Fishback. I haven't listened to Hamidi or Gomez yet, but I watch your videos a lot. I think I have to now.
Sure.
Nothing, just with compliance and everything, like
Oh yeah.
just making sure you're
Being a good boy.
straight and narrow.
One thing I do want to talk about this situation when we were at Moorhead, and this lady flipped off with a baby in hand, flipped off one of our wrestlers, or 2 ladies flipped them off, and I put it in the vlog, of course, because I'm vlogging
You
it.
put her on blast.
Yeah, yeah, and then so can you tell about that story? How she calls you?
Oh, yes. So I get a voicemail, and I don't think I listened to like 2 or 3 days later because it was like a random number. I thought it was just spam. So then basically I'm listening to it, and like she says who she is, and like she mentions Moorhead, and then it was like, my lawyers are gonna be contacting you and Caden. I didn't agree to be on his videos, blah blah blah. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is that illegal? And then I'm like, well, she flipped the crowd off. Like, definitely. I mean, I think it's a little bit justified, but I don't know. That was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a little situation.
Well, there's kind of a similar situation with a dude that was on the team for our first run this year. He quit after our first run. I forgot his name.
Oh.
But there was a guy that made a video about. So it was like my junior year of high school. He beat me like 1-0.
That kid did?
Yes.
Okay, just wait.
Yes, he did.
I beat him like 5-0 like 2 weeks before that. But this was the only match of Caden's dad's career that he got like an unsportsmanlike for like screaming at the ref because he was like stalling.
Yeah.
Like I shot the kid out of bounds and I got called for stalling, and it was bad. But so then one of Caden's fans made a video. It was like about the ref, a big conspiracy on the ref cheating me out of the match.
Just like a fun video.
Yeah, it was really random too. And the mom, this is Caden's freshman year of college at this point.
Yes.
So
give him a pot and a spoon, and he's gonna stir the pot.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And the mom saw the video somehow of the kid that was in it, and she called our high school athletic director, saying that she's gonna get her lawyers on Caden, and Caden's in college at this point.
I was just invited to be on the video. I was just being nice, I was like, yeah, I'll do it if I say yes to pretty much everything. And like my dad says, hey, Caden, did this happen? Like this whole situation. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like the kid who was on the team's mom called our school and saying that I was.
The whole thing was about me, and I wasn't even a part of it at all.
Yeah.
But then the kid deleted the video, and nothing really happened.
Yeah.
But I remember when he came on the visit, and it was him and the mom, and I was going to like math class or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, please
was just an awkward
please don't
situation.
recognize me.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
He was a nice kid. He just wasn't cut out for college wrestling. It's not for us all.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
Got to be a special breed to get through 4 or 5 years of college wrestling. I mean, at the end of the day, you can do that. That's an accomplishment of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you ever go into MMA?
I thought about it.
You should have. Still can.
No, I was actually when I left Central Michigan, so I think you guys all know this. Like, I did very poorly in school academically when I was at Central Michigan, so I actually was dismissed from the university. I was still technically eligible NCAA-wise, but not within the school. So I had a city year of residency, and like I was like, well, do I want to go back to Central Michigan, go to a tech school there, and then come back, or should I? Craig obviously came back here, go to Parkside. So like that point in my life was really down. Like I was in the dumps, I'm like, what am I gonna do with my life? I hate college. Like I don't like the academic side of it, right? I love wrestling, and I'm like, I think I remember telling my mom and my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna fight. I want to do MMA. I'm like 20 at the time, and they're like, you're not doing that, blah blah blah. So I obviously went to Parkside, but in that summer when I came back, I was doing a little bit of MMA. Not much. Ben Askren actually asked me if I wanted to work out with Anthony Pettis. He was getting ready for a title fight, I think, with Benson Henderson. So I worked out with him like 6 times. And I don't know if that was kind of like get my feet wet a little bit. Like, it was fun. Like, I liked it. But then obviously, like, wrestling was number 1 at the time, and I was still at 3 years of eligibility. So then after I continued to wrestle and I saw, I changed my life around academically and really just dedicated my life to wrestling. And I knew I could make something of that. So I was like, and I had childhood epilepsy, so I used to always have seizures when I was a kid, and it probably wouldn't be good for me to be getting knocked out all the time.
Oh, yeah. So did you ever think about it after Parkside or no?
No, because I was straight wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I took some time off of competition after I was competing at Parkside here, and then I knew, like, freestyle, I like freestyle a lot. Like, I did Greco trials 1 year in, like, 2016 just because I qualified, but I hated training Greco. Like, I didn't even train for World Team Trials in Greco. I just went there, like, off the couch, basically, like, training minimal Greco. Like, the Greco I did do was, like, so boring to me. Freestyle is more exciting, so I was like, I want to give a shot at freestyle, and I wanted to test myself against the best, right? That was my goal, and obviously my ultimate goal was making an Olympic team, but I realized that's pretty dang hard to do. There's only one guy every 4 years at your weight that does it. And I was kind of a tweener, too.
Do you ever think that Greco will be bigger and more popularized in the United States?
For the sake of Greco, I hope it does. Like, I used to love Greco when I was younger. I like throwing guys, right? And I think the higher level you get with Greco, just for me, like there wasn't much, and maybe just I sucked at it, but it was hard for me to score points, and I like
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of hard sometimes for me like to get scored on in the practice room. Like me and Craig would go wrestle Greco. I remember like we did it maybe twice when I was
Sure.
training for the World Team Trials, and we wrestled like an hour. It was like 8 to 9, you know.
Oh.
There's like
Yeah, I agree. If no one's like, you look at all Greco matches now, and it's almost just like 0-0. They put one guy down and a couple guts here and there, and they flip flop. And
yeah, I mean, and you have your outcasts, right? Like guy like Benji Peak, or
Sure.
you know, someone who's high level Greco, Kamal Bay, you know, some of those guys that are exciting to watch, right?
Mhm.
And I just was never a
sure.
huge thrower. You know, I threw guys, but in Greco not very often.
Yeah.
Did you see that high schooler that just pinned the returning Olympian?
Yeah,
Joel Adams.
Joel Adams.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy.
No, I hope Greco like makes a resurgence.
Yeah.
It's tough though. I mean, you have all the resources right now within USA Wrestling getting funneled. Shouldn't say that, but freestyle's popular, right?
Mhm.
Way more popular, and it's more exciting, I think, and there's more opportunities for high school kids, you know, to earn scholarship dollars wrestling folk style that translates way more to freestyle than the opportunities you have for Greco. Like, if you
Mhm.
want to train Greco and be a Greco Olympian, you should probably start when you're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, like the other countries do, and
Mhm.
you're strictly Greco full time. Like, if you try to half-ass it, you know, folk style 9 months and then wrestle 3 months of Greco, can it be done? Yeah, but like, look at a guy like Dennis Hall. Like, he completely kind of bypassed college wrestling and was like, I'm going Greco full time. Same thing with Filkey, you know.
Yeah.
Same thing with Provisor. Like, the best guys are full time Greco. You don't see too many guys. Maybe like a Braxton Amos is kind of an outcast where, you know, he's having wrestling folk style and still having success in Greco.
Mhm.
But like anything, you got to commit to it year round, and it's hard to commit to Greco year round if you're doing sprawls and sweep singles and
Yeah.
high C's and
That's true.
tilts and everything folk style is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
two different games.
Yeah. Do you ever think that Parkside would have a women's wrestling program?
Stay tuned. I think very, very soon.
Really?
Yes, very soon.
How's that going to work in
Yeah. Just 2 different times.
You're going to graduate Crosby, and you're going to become the head women's
Oh
wrestling coach.
my
the
God.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, who? Yeah, because it needs a whole new coach. You can't do both jobs.
No, and I made that pretty clear from the get-go. I actually brought it up right when I was hired, and then it kind of got put on the back burner. I think it would be good for one, the sport, but also our university.
Yeah.
I don't see why we shouldn't. But yeah, I mean, it needs its own, you know, full-time head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think very, very soon.
Oh, that's
Not
interesting.
next year, but maybe the year after.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm
with,
working on it. Like, you guys just think maybe I just
I wasn't saying like,
sit
oh,
on
get some
my-
girls in the
sit on-
university.
No, like, you guys sit on my hands all day. And like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, there's like things like that. Like, no, that's been in the works here for a couple months. It's been
Yeah.
gaining traction. So we'll see what happens with it.
That's exciting.
with that's got to come like a room upgrade, right?
It's in my big forecast.
All right. Good, good,
I'm
good.
gonna reach for the stars, but we might get, you know, might get a little things, might get not at all.
I mean, our room is day and night compared to what
It
you
used
had.
to be.
Or I think what you had, right? The room wasn't like that when you were here.
No. We wrestled on concrete mats.
Yeah.
Oh.
Made our knees tough.
Yeah. That makes sense.
No, that's, you know, at the end of the day, rooms are nice and everything, but
Yeah.
wrestling's a unique sport where you can have 2 guys and can wrestle on this turf if you want to get better.
That's a good point.
I actually just saw the clip of Nick Lee. He was saying you don't need a 4-time national champ coach. You don't need 12 mat-sized rooms and all this stuff. You just literally need another guy.
You really don't, yeah.
Well, think about it. Wrestling is the most like really accessible sport. You don't need a ball, you don't need a hoop, you don't need a net. You literally just need one other person. You're good to go. Why don't you think it's more popular, like compared to basketball,
Because
football?
it's hard to follow.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think it might be that
Go-
simple.
Okay, do this. This is an experiment you can do. Go show some random student on campus a wrestling match, and after the end of the match, without showing them the score, be like,
Wow.
"What was the score?" Okay.
Dude, that's
You-
such a good idea.
Ask them what the score was. Okay.
Yeah.
And then show them a basketball game, a 2-minute clip, and be like, "What's the score?" Or a soccer game.
Or
Like,
just like what's happening. Like,
yes. Like soccer's pretty simple. You got a ball, you got to put it in the goal,
Yeah.
right? Basketball, you got a ball, you got to put it in the hoop.
yeah.
Wrestling, you can't put Crosby in a hoop, right?
No, you can't.
You got to score points, and I think our point system is very hard to follow. That's why if we simplify it a little bit more, where we have a push-out rule, that's pretty easy to understand. You push a
Yeah.
person out of the circle, you get a point. Where now it's, well, was he backing up or was the other guy pushing too hard? Or did
Yeah.
he circle in? Was there action out of bounds or was there not? And then refs are obviously make calls within the match and how it's going, right? So, like, a call that they make in the first period, they might call it different in the third depending on the score and who's the aggressor and whatnot. So I think there's little nuances with the sport of wrestling, but that's why it's such a niche sport, and the diehard people that love wrestling because they understand it and they like. At least I think they can see the value of
Yeah.
positions and things like that.
I may be wrong, but Gomez said that Bono was a part of like the rules meeting.
Yeah.
And that the push out was like shut down immediately.
Yeah, could have been.
I think that's stupid.
I'm in favor of the push out and 3-point takedown.
For you,
Oh wait, what about getting rid of riding time? Or not getting rid of it, but you gotta need a turn for it, or
I don't know. I just think you start calling stalling on the top guy more. The refs got to know.
yeah,
They
true.
got to
if he's looking for a turn.
Yeah, they got to have a high wrestling IQ, right? And like, there's wrestlers who are good on top that are working for turns and they might not get them and they're not stalling. But on the vice versa, there's guys who just ride to ride.
Yeah. For you, what do you want the Nick Becker legacy to be?
Just a good person, man. Like, I don't know. Winning, right? We kind of put that in the forefront of our program of winning in the classroom, winning on the mat, like winning in life. So yeah, I mean, someone who's, gives back, is grateful. Like, I look back at, I'm only pretty young yet. I'm 29, right? And I've accomplished a lot of things that other people haven't. And, I say this all the time, like, individual awards are a collective effort, right? So I'm just grateful for the people that I have around me, like you guys, this team, school, my family, my friends, right? Like, I'm a pretty loyal person. I got a lot of good friends back in my hometown that have been my friends for a long time since I was probably 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, right? And we remained tight, and same thing with when I got to college, right? Even at Central Michigan, I'm still pretty tight with some of those guys, and teammates here at Parkside, obviously you guys know.
Sure.
Pretty tight people. So I just want to be remembered as a good person and someone who's loyal and giving.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you've heard of the shoe shop. The shoe shop, the metal cutting.
You didn't need to spend money and make me one of those.
What?
Thanks.
No.
I'll put that in my office though.
Put it right on the mantle.
Number 5.
Clash of Combat. No, that's awesome. Nice work, Shu.
You're the only person that didn't say, "Wow, this is heavy."
Yeah, you're the first one.
That's a stand too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing too is
Looks like the Snapchat ghost.
Yeah.
I was saying. Who would be someone that you really want to see on this podcast?
Ooh. Like,
And it could be a couple people too.
someone that I know that you guys want me to get on, or
That, or just like anyone in the combat sports world. Like, it doesn't have to be a wrestler, but could be still.
All right, I will start with someone that I know that I think would definitely come on. You guys should definitely get Reader on this podcast.
That's what I kind of wanted to see after
Yeah.
talking about him.
He's got a really good mind for just the way he approaches life, and like he's a really good, obviously, coach, and just his mindset is incredible.
Okay.
So I'll shoot him a text if you want me to.
Yeah,
Keep 'em
that'd be great.
Yeah. Someone that I wish Brett Favre was a combat sport.
Brett Favre. Why, you a big Brett Favre fan?
Absolutely.
What? Aaron Rodgers, dude.
Dude,
You-
it's different. It's just different times.
Different generation. I grew up on Brett Favre.
Luke's still somehow a Brett Favre guy.
Yeah, he's a warrior, man.
He's-
The guy played like 400 straight games.
Yeah, I guess. He also like ripped off, what was it, pregnant women?
I don't know how true that whole thing is. I didn't really look into it that much, but yeah. Okay, I like him as a competitor. He's
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
good
yeah. I mean,
competitive
that's fair.
spirit.
Yeah. That's
fair.
Getting back to someone that's alive. Got to be like a good character person.
Sure.
Like someone
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah, yeah.
excitement, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's why like when we had Gable as our first guest, that like you look on for his podcast, he only had one with DC. It was like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And
He was the second podcast ever.
Yeah.
pretty
Actually,
damn
this is
near.
I think is my first podcast ever.
Really?
Really?
Probably.
I've been
At
on
least
like
it's not
I've
like
been,
a Zoom.
Yeah,
like
I've been
yeah,
on that
yeah.
stuff. Like yeah.
That's why
but
like in person's way better. Like
it's
it-
better and it's not as like professional. You know, it's more not that this isn't professional shoes. Sorry. Sorry, President of Operations. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just more off the cusp. Whereas the interview, they ask you a question, you answer. They ask.
Well,
you
we
another
want it to
one.
be more of a conversation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
No, you guys do a good job with this podcast.
Thank you.
Okay, I got to think of someone here. quick. Going back to the question. Unique character. I would say like, and I don't want to say like a wrestler because this is
Sure.
combat sports.
Sure.
So I
That's
would
fair.
say like if you guys could get like Floyd Mayweather, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
And he's got enough money he could fly you guys out to wherever he lives.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Gotta send him a DM.
Yeah. I think we should
Him
start
and his 50
doing it.
million.
Shoot, do you want a DM with your account? All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
thanks
This
for
was a
coming
lot of
on.
fun. I learned a lot, actually.
No, that's
So
great.
much.
Thanks for having me anytime. And you guys, where's the studio after school ends here?
In the garage.
Yeah.
Or we're just always traveling, which,
Yeah.
I mean, probably do that, but
We'll see how much longer this thing lasts.
yeah.
Might have to do some like traveling stuff.
Yeah, we have a backdrop, but like a.
Mm-hmm.
But now we might have to get a new one, and
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
All fun.
President of Ops. Tell him you want a pay raise, Brady.
He's in the green.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Oh
in the
yeah,
group.
you got $750 yesterday for wall ball.
Okay. We'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Thanks.